Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Glassman's world. Hey, do you see that? 232 a gallon for gas still here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. It is Monday, November. What is it? Is it November 7th already? Wow. So we're almost to Thanksgiving, guys. So this morning I was taking my son, our son, to school, and um, I was noticing how the clouds were basically just all around us. They're to the south of us, they're to the east, to the north, all the way to the west. Well, I can't really get that to the west side. And so I was explaining to him that we probably should have had a storm come through, but it's been really warm lately, and usually it would be a lot colder at this time of the year, especially, getting close to Thanksgiving, and then we'll be in Christmas soon. The kids always imagine that, when it's close to Christmas, we start getting the winter and the snow and stuff, right? So I was explaining to them, well, we would usually have a storm come through, but they've sprayed so much, and they're still spraying, right? Like there's a active sprayer right now up in the sky above us, and then there's one right there behind him as well. So you got a couple right. So they're actively spraying right now. And so I was just saying, yeah, we would have had a storm come through. Watching the meteorologists fumble on the news, trying to make their predictions and their forecasts for the weather is funny, because they're like saying, well, it is gonna snow, right? Like, it's gonna snow, and they got their reporters there, like, asking their meteorologist colleague, like, it's supposed to snow, right? Like, it's gonna snow eventually soon, right? Like, and they're giving the meteorologist a bunch of crap, and he's like trying to predict it, that yeah, we should have had some snow, but I guess it's just bypassed us, and we'll have to see you next time, right? So I'm explaining to my son that, well, it's because they spray, right? And they allow them to spray because they have this thing called global warming, where they say that the earth is getting warmer, the sun is getting hotter every year, and so they're trying to do something to cool down the sun. So they're using these chemicals from the airplanes, they're laying it up in the sky, and they leave it there, and some of the chemicals is aluminum, right? Which is actually a metal. I explained to him, well, you know what aluminum is, right? It's that metal, like in these poles are made out of aluminum, and it's like, and what happens on a hot day if you touch those poles or you touch something metal? It's hot, right? So the aluminum heats up for sure. So they're saying they're cooling the earth and everything, but they're putting aluminum in the sky, and so that naturally would lead anyone to think, well, that's heating up the sky, right? So it's not necessarily cooling anything down, but they're using the aluminum particulates to reflect the lighting from the sun, so it doesn't get to us, and that's why we have a white sun and not a yellow sun anymore these days. And so here, we'll do a quick drive around, then you can see all the clouds all surrounding us. This is to the south right now, and completely surrounding us, but none above. Like, if there's some, they're pretty sparse and pretty broken up, right? Because of what happens with the aluminum. And so explaining to my son, well, yeah, metal heats up, and on a hot day, you can't really touch the metal, right? The metal poles get hot. Anything metal is hot. The car is hot, right? Anything metal is hot. But you could sit in the grass on a hot day, right? That's not hot. Like, the grass might be warm, but that's part of nature, and that doesn't absorb like what the metal does, right? And so when they put this metal particulates in the sky, and you can see these trails are crazy. This is facing now to the west here, and this is to the south. You can see all the clouds all the way around. There's a bunch of clouds all the way out down that way, right? And then to the north, bunch of clouds. Oh, that looks cool. A bunch of clouds to the north, all around us. Always a donut, right? We always got this donut sky because they're putting these up in the air. And so I explained to my son, well, when they heat up the sky, not only are they heating up the air in the area here, but the clouds. What are the clouds? And he said, oh, well, the clouds are, it's rain, right? And I'm like, yeah, the clouds, basically that's the water above us, right? There's the water above and the water below, right? And so, but the clouds, it's more of a gas state for the water compared to the water that's on the ground, like in the oceans and the river, which is more dense of a liquid state, right? So, and this is a 6-year-old that we're talking about, right? Our son understands the 3 forms of water, gas, liquid, and ice, a solid, right? So he understands this. He understands that clouds is basically water droplets, right? It's moisture, it's water in our sky. That's what the clouds are, okay? And what happens when you heat up water? And he knows right away that he says it goes away. And like, yes, it evaporates. It heats up and then it evaporates, right? So when they put all these aluminum lines, and there's other things in it, but I'm trying to explain to a 6-year-old, so I'm not going into the barium and the strontium and the human DNA and all that stuff, right? I'm not saying all these other things that they're putting in there. I'm just talking about the aluminum and why we have a donut in the sky always, where there's always clouds always around us, but they're never directly above us. And if there is, they're kind of sparse, right? That's an actual chemical cloud right there. That's a cloud that's breaking up. And you can see how it's wispy more on the top. These clouds aren't falling downward, but evaporating upward. And then they get broken up like this here, right? So I'm explaining to my son, well, yeah, so when you heat up water, it evaporates, right? So when you heat up the air by leaving these trails all over in the sky, then what happens is it heats up the water in our sky, what we know as our clouds, and those clouds then evaporate or they go away, right? So then, and you can see there's clouds all around us, we're facing the west and we can see all those chemtrails, and then this is to the north and that's towards the west back behind us there. And then they always regather in these areas here where the pressure systems, like the mountains, push the air upward, right? So then it all accumulates upward, and then that's where these clouds reform and regather right there. And so to explain to a 6-year-old how they simply just evaporate the clouds or the moisture from our sky out, and then it just moves along to a different area wherever the clouds move, the jet stream, right? So I simply can explain this to a 6-year-old. I hope that this video can help to explain to everyone else, to all you adults, all you grown-ups, everyone who is not understanding what's going on with this, and the fact that they are marketing and selling us on the idea of global warming in order to get away with these experiments. And what they're doing is they're creating early onset Alzheimer's, and we're getting brain fog and a lot of memory issues, and people are having problems with their brains. And so it's something that, it's a global pandemic, it's an epidemic, it's something that's happening that everyone is dealing with. This is not something that, like, I don't know if they have figured out, like, well, we're gonna do this, like those who are at the powers that are in control of what's happening, and they have figured out, well, we just got to continuously detox ourselves and make sure that we don't drink tap water, and we're not eating GMO foods, and we're eating good organics, and we're always detoxing and always drinking good alkaline water, and we're always making sure that we put like baking soda into water and things like that, and making sure that our body stays all nice and alkaline, And these are probably things that they do in order to stay healthy themselves while they know that they're poisoning the rest of the world. Global depopulation is at hand. This is the Great Reset. We're here. We're in the new world. Welcome to the new world and the new orders that we're following, and all these orders that they follow as well, because they're simply just following orders, right? Because no one would willingly poison the global masses, right? No one would willingly do that, right? No one would pilot these planes and willingly drop poison onto their friends and family members, their neighbors, and even their enemies, right? No one would just willingly do this, right? They just are simply following orders. So with that being said, that's how I simply explain chemtrails, or this aerosol canvassing, what it's actually known as, aerosol canvassing, weather manipulation, weather modification, and also they are modifying our bodies and inundating us with heavy metal poisoning and toxicity. All right, well, with that being said, guys, I'm gonna let you guys go. Just wanted to share how I can explain this to a 6-year-old and have him easily understand this, you know. And I've explained this to my 13-year-old daughter as well, and how simply these donuts in the sky are explainable, and why we always have clouds around us but never above us, and why it hardly ever rains here. And when it does rain, it usually rains at night, because the sun is no longer out. The sun is no longer heating up the aluminum in the sky, which then does not allow for the evaporation process to take place. And usually we only get rains in the evening here in Albuquerque. Comment below if you can remember any other times when we've had some really big major storms during the day. Or have you really noticed that our rains come at night, like last night? Woke up to this dirty window here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's really spotted and dirty from all the rain and all the dust that got blown. So with that being said, I'm gonna let y'all go. That's how I simply explain these this aerosol canvassing, or these chemical plumes up in the sky. All right, love and blessings, guys. You guys have a beautiful day. Detox, try to keep yourself safe, drink good water, eat good foods, organic foods, eat fruits and vegetables, eat foods that will help to keep your body in a detox mode. Don't eat a lot of processed foods that are going to really mess you up over time. Those things will accumulate, and yeah, you might be able to get away with eating a bag of Doritos or eating some crap cereal here or there, this and that, but it does accumulate. We are what we eat, you know. And good morning, thank you guys so much for tuning in and coming in here for the live chat. See, Austin's here. But that's how I simply explain these to a 6-year-old. So hopefully this is a simple explanation for you all. All right, I'm gonna let you guys go. We're gonna go live here in just a little bit and do some glass blowing. So come back with me. Hey, Slugbug Black, gotcha. Boom, boom. All right, you guys have a blessed day. I'm out. Try to teach this to your children as well. Everyone needs to know.